And I know we're going to get plenty of common sense from my guest today, Philip Ingram, former senior military intelligence officer. Very good morning to you.
Common sense?
Common sense.
Oh, my God, I've left it in my bag.
It might be an outbreak. I don't think you can. I think it's imbued in your DNA, which is why we love having you on the show. There's a lot of deep sighing today. I mean, generally, there's going to be a big hailing of the, 20% fall in net migration. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Now, part of this, by the way, is down to the fact that we had changes to the number of students who were allowed to bring dependents with them. So since January, most students have not been allowed to bring dependents with them unless they're studying at PhD level. So basically, we had a huge number. It's particularly Nigeria. People were bringing, 4 or 5 or 6 dependents and coming as a student. I mean, really, on what planet did we think that was viable economically? But also, and get this a decision by the previous Conservative government. This entirely covers the period of the Conservative government. They raised the minimum salary requirement for skilled worker visas from 26 grand to 38 grand. Now, that was announced in April, but actually that hasn't actually been brought in yet. That hasn't actually happened yet. So perhaps we would have seen a bigger fall if that were the case. But I mean, a 20% fall to 728,000 people coming in net. That's it's more than 1 million who come in. It's just the net amount of people more in the country. Yeah. That is still absolutely huge number.
It is, and our infrastructure's creaking, can't handle it. Now, for those migrants that come in that contribute to society and pay taxes and are earning above certain thresholds and contribute to the country, doctors and other bits and pieces. My cancer surgeon had come from an immigrant family. The assistant surgeon had come from an immigrant family. My father was looked after by immigrants when he was in his care home. They're adding to society because there's work-shy Brits don't want to go and do that or train for that. But the dependents, the huge numbers that are there, the illegal migrants are a net burden on society because we're having to pay for them because they're not going out and contributing.
No, I think you'll find if you check at any Islington dinner party, you will find, Philip, because they've been telling us this, the great and the good. By the way, Conservatives and Labour and Lib Dems and all the rest of them, for years, that net migration is a good thing for the country. Every committee, every report says, all the advisory bodies say they've been a net contributor because apparently everyone's a high-earning engineer as opposed to someone earning minimum wage as a care worker or driving an Uber or working in a factory. Now, I've got no issue with people coming to this country legally to make a better life for themselves and their family. All credit to them. I mean, you've got gumption, absolutely. But the key thing is, although that may benefit your family, the key thing is when our immigration policy should be made around the people who are already here, which, by the way, will include many recent legal immigrants and people who are the descendants of immigrants, who actually at the bottom of the economic pile are the people who are most hit. I'm largely, and you largely, a lot of our audience maybe, not really hit by someone who arrives from whether it's Slovakia or Nigeria or Pakistan. That someone arriving in the country today is probably not going to take our job. We're not going to be competing with them. But millions of people are, and for housing and school places and hospital appointments and all of that. And so many of the people who support this policy are people who basically aren't impacted by it. They think, well, it's wonderful, got a lovely deli at the end of the road. Isn't it lovely? And now we celebrate Diwali at my daughter's primary school or things like that. They're completely and utterly out of touch with the actual impact, but also not just the economic impact, because the vast majority of immigrants actually are not earning. And certainly from many countries. And if you look at it by country, and again, some countries are now publishing this information, either criminality or net economic contribution. And it's vastly different for the average person from different countries. And what a surprise, people coming from, say, America and Canada and France and Germany, are massive net contributors. They're bankers and doctors and goodness knows what. People coming from the Indian subcontinent and from sub-Saharan Africa, funnily enough, and this is going to blow your minds, everybody, on average are not highly skilled. On average, there'll be plenty of people who are skilled, who bring their skills and whatnot. But again, even when we say, well, how will our NHS cope? Well, you know what? I'm really sorry, but we can train up our own people to be doctors and nurses because there are thousands upon thousands every year who don't get into medical school with straight A's in science and maths who can't get into medical school because we limit the number of people we train.
Yeah, well, exactly, and there's lots could be done to get more people trained in medical areas and other areas where we're short. You know, take away student loan requirement, for student fees requirement for people studying
subjects that are useful,
that are very useful to society.
But we won't give you any money, and we'll charge you double if you're doing media studies.
Well, exactly. But you know, these are the sorts of things that the government should be doing to reduce it. And you know, the statistics should look at those that are the contributors and those that aren't the contributors, and start to cut the contributors out. But also put a number of other barriers.
I would say there are some countries which we should simply say, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that on average. I think we should have higher requirements from certain countries. I really do.
There is with certain countries, but I think we should bring other things in, like language tests, so that if you come in as an immigrant, if you cannot speak English and you have to pass quite a sophisticated test, oral and written, within 2 years, then you lose your...
Not even within 2 years.
Well,
no, but that's the thing. Like, what job are you doing? What job, realistically, are you doing in this country that makes you a net contributor?
You're right.
By the way, you need to be earning over 40k to be doing that. Yeah. What job are you doing when you don't speak the language?
Yes.
Now, I don't know, maybe you're some internet entrepreneur, maybe you're some Arab prince or something, you don't have to speak the language because you're so rich. Fine, as long as you're paying taxes here, I'm not bothered. You can't be a drain on society, and the reality is everyone's been saying that. And also, something Kemi Badenoch addressed it in her major policy speech, the first one she's done as leader of the Conservatives yesterday, was talking about how Britain is not a hotel, it's our home, and talking about the lack of integration. And this is something that people talk about. Multicultural Britain. I don't want Britain to be multicultural. I'm quite happy for Britain to be multiracial. We're a very welcoming country. I couldn't give two hoots what colour your skin is. It's totally irrelevant to every aspect of your and my lives, in my view. Well, it should be. That was where we should get to. But multicultural, no. You want to come to Britain, you adopt our culture.
Yes,
that's the deal.
Yeah,
that is the deal, and that comes down to everything in terms of tolerance of other religious beliefs, freedom of speech, tolerate women's rights, equality, the right to marry out of your religion, to leave your religion, and I'm sorry, we have whole swathes of the population now who simply do not accept many British fundamental cultural values and beliefs. And I'm sorry, that's got to stop. People living side by side. So people say, oh, Birmingham, wonderful multicultural part of the world. London, wonderful. No, you've got an enclave. You've got Afro-Caribbean, you've got Turkish, you've got Bangladeshi, you've got Pakistani, you've got Indian, people are not mixing. Yeah. They're not integrating, they're not assimilating, and that's not good for anyone.
And that's I've looked at why the US doesn't have overtly such a problem.
They don't.
It does covertly, but overtly, if you ask someone in America, no matter what their skin colour is, where they've come from and all the rest of it, you say, what nationality are they? They say, I'm American first.
Yeah.
If you ask someone in the UK from different, what nationality are you? They will say, I'm Bangladeshi or I'm Nigerian or I'm such and such. They won't say, I'm British first.
Yeah.
And the Americans, they swear the allegiance to the flag in the schools every morning.
Listen, I went to school in America for 2 years as a kid. We had to sing the national anthems for allegiance to the flag every single morning. And again, you're an Italian American, a Polish American, Irish American, but you're American. But again, that is a melting pot country. Also, crucially, it's got a growing economy. It's a huge country. Yeah. It's a country that is built on immigration. Yes. And people say, so is our country. No, it's not. Yeah. No, it's not. 90+% of the country have origins tracing back, hundreds and hundreds of years in this country. It's not. We are not built on immigration. That is not our culture.
The French are the Celts. That's our background.
I mean, I know it's quite bizarre. People don't understand our basic history. And again, welcoming people who come here want to make a contribution, but again, this nonsense. I do hate this. It's about Caribbean people coming here. It's about wanting to help us build the NHS. No, they came for a better life. They're living in mud shacks. Yeah. In god-awful, beautiful Paradise Island to us, but actually, if you look at the way a lot of people were living, coming here to make a new life for themselves and their children, and that's great. But they were being paid to do a job that British people wouldn't do. Yep. So a crucial thing is here, we need to make sure that British people are willing to do a lot of these jobs. Now, part of that is increasing the pay.
Yes.
At the end of the day, if someone won't do a job, You know, remember during lockdown they couldn't get enough lorry drivers. Well, you know what? If you pay people enough, they'll do it.
Yeah.
We need to pay people more to do a lot of these jobs.
But we also need to disincentivise not working. Because too many people sit there and will play the benefit game and go, it's too expensive for me to go to work. I'll lose all these benefits. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Shouldn't be an option.
If there's a job there, you have to take that. Otherwise, you lose your benefits.
Absolutely. We talked about that on the show all this week as well. Yeah.